Hey, this is Ashlyn, former co-host of the Top 10 Recovery podcast, The Betrayed, the Addicted, and the Expert. I have had my challenges, but I am also living proof that joy is possible, even when life does not go as planned. I'm excited to share with you real examples of living a life full of adventure, true healing, and freedom, no matter how messy life gets. Each episode, I will introduce you to someone I love and respect to talk about ways to be the buffalo and to face your storms in different areas of life. We are going to talk about 4 tips on designing the life that you will love with my guest, Amy Kohler. And let me read your bio because we're friends here, but you need to know her as a business owner, designer, and mom and wife that she is. She is passionate about building and growth in her own life with herself, her business, and building up those around her. She lives and works in Utah's Heber Valley with her husband and 3 kids. She enjoys spending time outside, especially in the desert, wake surfing and boating, traveling, playing pickleball, and spending time with her family. Amy has a passion for creating spaces and values the vulnerability that comes with design. Her business, Styled Life Design, specializes in new build construction and design. She believes that your environment can reflect you, and she helps you achieve your dream life. We met in a line at a conference where I was speaking at. We've kept in contact online, and then years later wound up rooming together at Alt Summit in Palm Springs, California. The rest is history. So we've gone to lots of events together. We have one coming up. Dance parties, walk and talks, Marco Polos, conferences, karaoke, axe throwing, double dates, you name it. We do the fun, we do the serious, we laugh, we cry, we talk therapy, kids, business, spirituality, and life. So Amy's like all the things for me.
I'm glad.
Yes. So I'm excited to have Amy here because I was an interior designer for 8 years.
Yep.
And that's what I graduated with my college degree in. And so when I obviously have my own experience in seeing other designers and being one myself. So when I saw you and how you were a designer, I knew that it was different. You do have a very different way of approaching design for people. And it's not like my style is this, so this is what you get. You really do work with people so that they have something special and not just what everyone else has.
Yeah.
So-
I'm not a designer that's like religiously committed to my aesthetic. I actually would rather just crawl into my clients' brains a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I think sets you apart from most. So,
Oh,
well
thank
done.
you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Okay. So today we are going to talk about how we can find ways to design the life we want. And so, yeah, I invited the interior designer, but also someone who is intentionally living her life and not waiting for life to happen to her. And so the first question I have for you, Miss Amy, is where do we start? What's the first step when we're trying to say, okay, I'm going to live an intentional life. I'm sick of life happening to me.
Okay. So I'm going to relate this to a build because that's where I live 99% of the time. So I work building usually new homes, and we start with a set of plans before anything's ever done. And the most important step of this process is visualization. And so part of my job is being able to show people this is where you're going to be at the end. When literally you're standing on a lot and it's just dirt. This is where you're going to be at the end. This is going to be your view. This is the sofa you're going to be sitting on. Things like that. How that applies to life for me is visualizing a life that I want, right? When I first started my business specifically, I thought if I just do all the things and make money and put in the work, I will have this amazing life. And I realized really quickly that wasn't true. Even though I had all the best intentions, it just wasn't true. It's not how it worked out. I was working way more than I wanted. I was worried and stressed and pulled in a bunch of different directions. And so I think in life, it's the same. I started visualizing. I would do meditations that were visualizations. I would write down what my dream day would be, what my dream life would be, what it looked like, how it felt. And I started making decisions in line with that end goal. So just like in the build, that end vision of what we're looking for can help us because there's 1 million decisions on the way, right?
Oh man.
I mean, if you've ever built a house before, you know,
Yes.
like what hardware do you want? What color are the cabinets? What style is the door? What tile? How do you want it laid? What grout? You just go on and on and on and on. And if you don't have a map or if you don't know where you're going, then it gets really overwhelming really quickly.
Yeah.
So I would say visualizing the process and setting a goal for your life. What do I want my life to look like? What do I want it to feel like?
Okay. I love all of that. And I'm going to go right to where you began, which is you help people see what they cannot see, right?
Yeah.
So I can read a house plan.
Mhm.
It's easy for me to look and understand. I can walk into a new build and I can look at the framed walls and be like, yeah, I get what's going on here. The average person struggles to do that, I would say. And
True.
so you do have that special ability to here's what it looks like. So in life, if we are just living, I feel like I was living that way for most of my life of just showing up day to day. And I wasn't really looking ahead. Sometimes I was living in the past of, bringing up old things that maybe were hurtful or wishing for things that made me happier and really not living in the day.
Yeah. Or
And
letting the past guide you
yes.
instead of where you wanted to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And taking some risks maybe
Yeah.
and starting to branch out. And so for me to start to visualize, I didn't even recognize I wasn't doing that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Until you get to a place where you're like, oh,
Wait.
crap, this is not a good place.
So are we preventing a midlife unraveling here by telling you these truths?
I hope so.
I feel like that's where it's starting.
I think later we can talk about embracing the midlife unraveling because it's all part of the process.
It really
right?
is, right?
But yeah.
But I feel like that's what kind of gave me that jump start is recognizing I wasn't even aware I wasn't living the life I wanted. I was just showing up. And so our listener might be there where they're saying, okay, I haven't actually thought about what my ideal day looks like as a partner, as a parent, as an employee or boss, as a friend. What does it look like? Who do you want to be spending your time with? What do you want to be spending your time doing? What are the things that fill you up? What are you missing out that you want to be doing more of? Those are the things we're talking about.
Yeah. I had joined a coaching group last year and they had a woman come on who specialized in visualization, which I thought was super interesting because she was basically saying if you can convince your brain through visualization that this is possible and this is real, then you'll have a much easier time making decisions that will help with change. And she did one where a meditation / visualization, that's going to be a tough word, where she had you imagine your best self in 5 years or 10 years and you meet yourself. And who is that person? What are they like? What kind of energy do they have? What's their light like? What are they doing every day? That was a really good place to start for me. Was, okay, if I keep doing all the things that I'm doing every day right now, I'm not going to be that person that I really want to be in 5 or 10 years. So just zooming out and being really intentional about, okay, if that's where I want to be, these are the things that I need to do today, and I can act as that person today. Okay. So I love the way you put it. It's like how you find it. Like, how did you find it?
Find what the ideal life for me?
Well, yeah, like how did you form, like you said you were lost, and I don't think you are now.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, like how did you find that visualization of the future? Especially you just went through a huge shift.
Yes.
Right?
Well, I think what you said about living in your past and dictating, like letting the past dictate. Yes, I did live that way. I'm an interior designer. That's what I do. So what else am I going to do? Because when that finished after 8 years, I became full-time mom. And so starting something new was like, it was too much. There was
Yeah.
too much out there to
Yeah.
think, what does that even look like? And so for me, it was more about, it wasn't like, I'm going to start a podcast and I'm going to be a coach.
Right.
I had none of this in my plan, but here I am. But
Here you are.
I do believe it was opening my mind and my heart to the opportunities that would present themselves, and saying yes when I would want to say no, saying no when I want to say yes, like learning how to be boundaried, those types of things. So that when the opportunity to start a podcast 4 years ago came, scared the crap out of me. Why would anyone listen to
remember.
me? Yeah, like I'm not an expert. What are we even talking about?
Mm-hmm.
I have a lisp. Who's going to listen to this? But I did it because
Mm-hmm.
it scared me.
Yeah.
And I grew. And, you listen to the podcast 4 years ago, I sound different than I do today. And I can do this easy peasy. And, most people that come on are a little nervous, right?
Oh, yeah. I don't know what you mean by
You're not
that's
nervous.
sarcasm. I'm like, welcome to Hollywood.
Yeah.
There's microphones.
Yes. So there's that, just being open to the idea that I could shift and change, that there is possibly more for me out there. And even this year, as we stepped into our divorce and me saying, can I do this on my own? I've had my own business this whole time, but I always had this partner.
Mm-hmm.
And then I brought on other partners. Can I do this? And so for me to name my podcast, This is Ashlyn, is very intentional.
Yes.
It's just me.
Yep.
Inviting the people that I love and respect. It's me.
Yes.
I get to choose.
Yes.
I don't have to hold resentments on anyone for not doing their part. It's me.
Yeah.
So
I love it.
That's, I guess, where I would say is just being started for me being open.
And I've heard you talk over the years of broader ways that you've chosen to make a roadmap. Like, I want to spend time with my girls every day, or like even on your stories. I think in the last 24 hours, you were saying, this is my dream day.
Yeah.
And you lined it out. Like, to me, those broader values can guide you if you don't know your exact, this is where I'm going to live, and this is what I'm going to do for work.
Yeah.
And this is how many hours I'm going to work and how many kids I'm going to have, and if I'm going to have a partner or not. But you can let those values kind of guide you. As I remember you saying, I want to look out my window and see the forest.
Yes.
Stuff like that.
So that's still in my plan. And,
Yes.
and it will happen sometime. But right now I look out my window and I see a house. So
Girl, hello house.
It's fine.
Yes. It'll be wonderful. It's a process.
Yes. But I will say, you bring up values, and we've brought this up on the podcast before, and a lot of people may not know what that even means. But values are what helps you create your own boundaries and the views that you want to see your life, right?
Yes.
So if you just go to Google, you can say a list of values and print that out. That can give you a start. Okay. So if you have no idea what your values are, you might have beliefs, especially if you're religious or you have come from a family culture, you have beliefs, but are those your values? They might be, but they may not be. And so digging in, you take that list, there's probably 50 words on there. You're going to see like honesty or growth or fun. And I go through and just highlight, all these things speak to me. And then what I would suggest is you narrow it down to about 5.
Okay.
And these are your core values. This is how you really are living your life. This is where you hold resentments. So I have a very strong core value of honesty.
Yes.
So when people skirt around being honest, I have serious red flags.
Same.
Okay.
Same.
So it goes with a partner, but it also goes with friends. It goes with business. And I just want transparency. And so when I crave that and I don't get it, immediate resentments come up. That's an indicator for me of saying, hey, something's off here and it's my stuff. It's hitting my core value. I need to talk to these people.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So for me to lay out my whole day, I know that I value time with my kids. So that's the first thing that started my day, was my girls coming into my bed and we cuddle and we just talk. And that's how we start our morning.
Connection.
Yeah. I love that. Would I have said that 8 years ago? Probably not. It was different.
Yeah.
But when I really started to dig in, I figured out what I value. And that's how I kind of scheduled my day of what I really want. And I value my time more than I value work. So I've really tried to create the life that I want and fit work into 3 days so that I have the rest of the week off.
Yes. And it works.
Yes.
It works for you. And I think that's important to understand is it's so unique for everyone.
Yes.
It's not going to be the same for everyone.
Mm.
Some people are going to value money. Some people are going to value time with family, connection, growth, all of those values. I wish I had a list in front of me. Now I didn't even know you could Google a list of values. I'm going to definitely do that. I went to a conference where they had us imagine the end of our life and what people would say about us based on our different roles. So as a parent, as a business owner, as a spouse or a partner, as a friend. And that's kind of how I came up with some of mine, was looking back and thinking, how would I want to be remembered after a lifetime? What's important to me, the legacy that I leave behind. And so mine were connection, growth, that people felt loved and accepted by me. So I don't know where these fall on the list. I'm so excited to figure out.
It's perfect because I know you and I'm like, yes, those are your core
values. Building something that I can leave behind, making the world more beautiful. And for me, like elevating or like helping people rise to another level, whether that's through design or just my relationships. So it was interesting to me when I went back and applied those values to the goals I was setting for the year or however long, it changed. There was a big shift.
I like that.
So I think there's lots of ways to figure it out and it's going to be different. Even it was interesting for me because then I was so loved this conference. I went home and I told my husband, you have to go. I really, really want you to go to this. It just gave me a lot of intention and direction. So he went to the same, it was actually just a business conference. Like I was there with people who worked in all different businesses. And even just aligning our values and making sure that our visions could mesh was really interesting exercise.
Yes.
Like, oh, okay, well, you want to like someday move away and live in a beach house in Kauai. Like, how am I going to run an interior design business from there? I couldn't. And so just also, I think it's tricky because we're so unique to mesh that with a partner or a family. Totally doable.
It is. And I think you bring up an important part. We are so unique. We don't have to be matchy-matchy, especially if we're in a partnership. But I do think it's important. Sometimes we look and say, oh, you value money. That's negative. That's a bad thing. It's not. It's just, it is what it is. And that's part of who you are. And it's a great thing. So
money's just energy, right?
Yeah. And so it's okay if you are motivated by those things. Don't judge your partner. Don't judge yourself. But it will help you be more intentional. So I love all this.
Yes, I love it too.
Okay. The next one.
Oh, can I say one more thing about that?
Yes.
I just thought of, well, because we live in this society where it's like #couple goals, #vacation goals.
Yes.
Right. And so instead of maybe being judgmental, I think there's a few ways that can go. You can feel hurt, you can feel shame, you can feel judgment, but instead just looking at it as that's what that person values. And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's where they've put their time and their energy into having a podcast, having a YouTube channel, growing a business, being a stay-at-home mom and growing a family. Whatever it is, people always are their best when they're putting their values forward. And so I'm like glad that we're all different because look at all the funny videos on the internet. That to me is like,
see, and that's one,
what a blessing.
That's one I think you left out of your values is that you value fun and you bring it.
Oh, I love to be fun.
So that needs to be added just so you're aware.
Fun is fun. Fun is way fun. Yeah.
Okay. Step 2.
Okay. So after you create your vision, that's the fun part.
Okay.
That's the fun, scary part. Then it can get a little bit more scary when you have to actually build that vision.
Yeah.
Right. I think it's important to understand that building takes time. It takes effort. It takes energy. It takes most of the time a budget and money. If you're building a house, 100 million% of the time.
Yeah.
Right. But okay, so let's move that over to building a life that we love. Are we going to become the people that we want to be? Am I going to become the person that at the end of my life, everyone says all these wonderful things I want them to say about me by tomorrow? Probably not. I wish. I'm definitely the person that wants to put the seed in the ground and have corn on the cob the next day. But yeah, it takes time. It takes effort. It's a lifelong process. And I love the part, like, it takes budget. Let's talk about investing in ourselves. And I mean, how many conferences have I talked about that I've gone to over just already on the podcast? I feel like a pinnacle turning point for me was investing in myself in a way where I'm like, this is how I want to grow. I want to find the people that can help me grow, and I'm going to pay them money to teach me how to grow. So I've done a lot of that. Therapy costs money, and it's so worth it. Best return, best budget. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes energy. I think just those daily things that we do, those when I have to zoom out and say, okay, am I in line with my vision? Am I laser focused on where I want to go? And oh, I'm not. What do I need to change? How can I shift and get myself where I need to be? Or even more, okay, that vision's not going to work. That's a big shift, right? How am I going to move into creating a new vision that is going to work for me? How can I honor myself and knowing like, oh, I thought I wanted that, but now I don't. So how can I move? So I think just effort, energy, time, budget.
I don't know that I even have anything to add because I'm like, yes, all of those things. And it really makes sense looking at it from both sides. And you have helped me be more of that, invest in yourself with going to the I like to call it people who are 2 steps ahead, or people who have the same energy of wanting to maybe grow in those specific ways. And I noticed that all of my friends that are the closest to me are currently in therapy.
Yes. There's something so powerful about getting together with people who all want to grow and who all have space for you to grow. Because I think sometimes people want us to stay the same. It's more comfortable for everyone. And so when you can find a tribe of people, whatever that looks like, who can love you through the growth, it's really valuable.
That's Amy. She's seen me through the ups and the downs, and she's still here.
Same for you. I'm like, that's why I'm like, we do the happy and the sad. That's very true. That's very true.
We do.
Well, and I think in business, you need people who are 2 steps ahead, who you can say, I think I'm going to quit and just like sell drugs for a living. Or who knows, like I'm just going to go sell jerky on the side of the road because
that makes you happy.
Well, and that are like, you know what, I really get it. But like you could keep going. And you're like, yeah, I could.
Well, and I've noticed I have all different kinds of friends, and you do as well. But I know at the beginning of this year, another friend said, you need more strong women to surround yourself with, strong business women, because I've been surrounding myself with strong businessmen, which is not terrible. They're awesome men. However, I don't have the influence of these women as much as I need it. And that really hit me like, oh, I do kind of feel more alone in some ways. And I only have like you and a couple other friends who own their own business who can understand some of the relatables that, some of my friends don't understand.
It's a specific set of stressors that come with being a woman in business that even with my husband, I'll tell him about experiences that I've had in business. And I'm like, it was because I was a woman that this happened. And he's like, I never would have even thought of that. But you just have to be conscious in a different way. And I think there's power in that. There's power in saying, well, this is how I overcame it. I mean, Ash, this is what you do every day. Like, why are we even like, this is, you show people you're the 2 steps ahead for so many people.
In some ways, but not all the
in
ways.
different ways.
Yeah.
But yeah, like just showing someone, this is how I built what I built. And I mean, I'm in a very competitive field where there's a lot of like trade secrets and like people maybe would view designers as kind of like a snooty bunch or a kind of a not very approachable crowd. And I'm the girl that's every year at the furniture market, like, does anyone want to go to dinner? Like, who wants to sit and talk? And
You want to connect.
yes, I want to connect. Connection is important to me. And I'm like, we totally have things that can help each other. I went to dinner at the last market and got so many great ideas and solutions just in one dinner of that
With a stranger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of people I had just met saying like, this is how I tackle this and this is what I do and this is what I do. And I'm saying, oh, well, I took this course and I did this. And then afterwards we're like, what was that book? What was that? Texting each other and figuring that out. But I think in life it's the same.
Yes.
I think that's why we love to congregate as women. Like this is how I did this with my 11-year-old when it was really, I was like, oh, what's happening?
Yes.
Or this is how I, handled it when I was questioning my spirituality or figuring out what I wanted to do with my life or my vision. So I love that building is easier in a group.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you have to do your own stuff.
Yeah. And I think all of that is still investing in yourself, right? You're putting yourself out there.
Time.
Yeah, you're investing time. Yes. For me, that's pushing myself to be outgoing when I'm more in the middle. I can be both. And so I'm a little uncomfortable in those moments, but they always pay off. And so I love all that. And I will say this, I've had a few reach out and say, your divorce isn't fair. And it's, you have a business and you have your house and you have all these things. That's not normal. And
what's normal?
I know, but and I'm like, well, I don't necessarily respond, but in my head, I'm going, I've spent so much time building the life that I have. And even though it didn't work out how I wanted, here I am.
It shouldn't just fall down to nothing.
No.
Not if we're building correctly. Should we go back to the house, right? You had a foundation.
But I did. And I've worked so hard for so long. This didn't happen in January.
Right. It wasn't like you were like, uh-oh, I better build up everything because I'm going through a divorce.
Right. And if you're in that spot, good for you for saying, hey, I'm taking a stand. I'm letting life be more intentional from here on out.
We all have to have that awakening.
Yeah. But I think it's like what you mentioned of looking at other people and just saying, okay, this is what they value and not taking it as this is different than me. It must be they're wrong,
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, and I would add with your example in mind, consistency.
Oh, it. I was telling a friend on a hike, I said, we gave for 3 years. We gave, and we never asked. Every single week. We took 2 weeks off of a year. Okay. And I gave. And when we finally started asking, people were like, what? How dare you ask for money? How dare you ask for me to
your
invest?
courses?
And it was like, I've worked and I've been so consistent to give and to share my heart and to do what I started this business for, my core value, right?
Yes.
And now I'm saying, hey, I want you to really be invested and to put the time and effort in, and here's everything.
And there's that energy exchange, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, I've given you all this energy. I need you to give me some energy back so I can keep going. That's all money is.
It is. And I know we both value abundance and living in that. And I have, and through all of this, transition the last 7 months, it's been, I'm okay.
Oh yeah.
Like I have so much uncertainty. There's so much hard happening behind the scenes, but I'm also like, we're going to be fine.
I've seen it. I've seen it on Marco Polo. I'm like, she's okay. I don't know, but she's okay. I've felt that from you. You've definitely walked through all the emotions and you've walked through the hard stuff.
Yeah.
And there's good days and bad days, but
there are.
I think when you've built the way you've built, you can keep building.
Yeah. Which is the same for you.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
The quote in my kitchen is not to spoil the ending for you, but everything is going to be okay.
Well, spoiler alert.
Okay.
It'll be fine.
Yes.
You're going to be so happy. You're going to love it.
So we visualized, we've started building. Now what?
Okay. So the next thing that I have is you have to let go of the old to invite in something new. Building, right? You have to let go of the house you're living in. You have to let go of, sometimes I'll go to someone's house and they're like, I want you to redesign this whole room, but I want to keep these sofas and these chairs and definitely this and definitely that. And I'm like, why am I here? Why am I here? Because you're still holding on to the old, which that's great if you want to hold on to the old, but you're not going to have room for something new unless you let go of that. When it comes to life, I mean, you have to let go of the old version of yourself in order to become the new version of yourself. If I want to be that woman that I saw in 5 years and I was so impressed with, that was me, I have to let go of some things to become her. Sometimes that means letting go of sleeping in. Sometimes that means sacrificing in ways in order to build, right? To do the work, sacrificing the money, sacrificing the time and the energy, kind of like what we talked about. But I also think you have to let go of what the vision was before. Like I said, I can't be independently wealthy in Hawaii. And also, I mean, I don't want to say I can't, but I have to choose where I want to go. And that will mean eliminating things and becoming extremely focused on where I do want to go and who I do want to be.
Yeah. I also see you and have seen you let go of old narratives about yourself and old beliefs. And that, I believe, is a huge part of that acceptance to let go.
Yes.
Of like, I don't hate who I was or who I am currently, but I am allowing myself to say, hey, that I know more now.
Yes.
And I can do different things.
Yes. And I think some of that for me was even stepping into, I actually really like myself now. Whereas before, maybe I didn't, or stepping into, in order for me to step into feeling confident when I walk in a room and I meet a new client, confident in my ability, confident in the way I look, confident in the way I feel, I have to let go of the insecurity and the fear of what if they don't like me? Or what if I can't do this job? What if this is too much? I have to let go of that in order to step into the surety and the confidence. So just letting go of fear. I feel like I lived in so much fear for a long time and anxiety for years and years of what was going to happen, who I was, would people like me? And that's something I've been working on this last year is like people pleasing, setting clear boundaries with people, saying no, and still feeling loved and feeling confident and not wanting to crawl under a rock and hide because there was, it felt like too much conflict. When I was younger, I just never wanted to ever have a conflict with anyone. And as a business owner, especially in the business that I'm in, that is just not going to work.
Yeah.
It's just not going to work. But I didn't realize that I had to let go of, I thought if I just got tougher, I'll just get tougher and tougher and tougher, and then I'll be fine. But what I didn't realize is I had to let go. I had to let go of the people pleasing. I had to let go of this idea that I was for everyone. I had to let go of all those narratives in order to feel like, no, I don't necessarily have to be tougher. I just have to know that I'm worth it and I'm a good deal and it's okay. And if they're mad, I can see why they're mad. I can see why they don't like that. And I can still feel how I feel.
Yeah. And what I also hear in that is that you've found solutions and skills to help you show up that way.
Oh yeah.
Because
# therapy.
Those are learned skills of being able to show empathy and to see their point of view, to have understanding, but also stand up for yourself.
Yes.
So
I had someone ask me the other day, they were like, how did you come to this conclusion? I don't even remember what we were talking about. It was like something with church or something. I don't even remember. And I was like, years of therapy, lots and lots of therapy. Like I'm stubborn to change, just like as stubborn as anyone. But I think when you let go of those self-defeating behaviors, when you can recognize them and say, okay, self,
yeah,
I'm ready. I'm ready to move up from this. Then you're like, okay, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to be who I want to be.
Yeah. Okay. So I have to say, today I have a women's group that I ran right before you came. And we were talking about this. We call it the spike narrative, where there will be an episode about it. That it's that voice in our head that's giving us those beliefs, right? And some of them we don't even notice. They've just been there our whole life. Someone in fourth grade told me I was shy. And so guess what? I'm always, you shouldn't go talk to them. You're shy. That's not who I am, but it's what I told myself for decades.
Yep.
And so in group today, it's just, hey, where do I start to rid some of this shame and to start to rewrite these narratives in my head? Well, we have to recognize them.
Oh, yep.
Right. And that's what you're saying is part of that letting go is just noticing I'm holding on to these couches.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Why am I?
Yes.
And start to get curious.
How does it serve me?
Yeah.
Why am I holding on to it? I mean, we don't hold on to anything that doesn't serve us in some way.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think I thought the people pleasing actually protected me when it actually was hurting me. So I think because of those narratives that we internalize, we hold on to things for lots of reasons.
Yeah.
But we got to know why.
Does it?
Right? That's where the therapy comes in.
Yes.
Because you're like, oh, I didn't know I was doing that, but I'm totally doing that.
Yes.
I am totally doing that.
This is my life.
Yeah.
And you're good at calling me out too. Let's just say that.
I think the book, like The Four Agreements, for me, that was huge. Just realizing that I've made agreements with myself based on maybe things other people have said or experiences that I've had. I've made agreements with myself that that's who I was or am. And when I realized I actually don't have to agree to those things, I can go back and re-examine those.
Yeah. Change our mind.
It's really powerful.
When I realized I could change my mind, that was like, oh, I'm not everything someone told me.
Yeah. See, and I've never seen you as shy. I mean,
because I'm not
a little bit, because I don't think you're shy.
I'm not, but I have told myself that for decades.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm getting rid of a lot of old narratives.
I got ready for 80s prom with you, and you are not shy. I don't know. So it's so interesting to me. I think sometimes the narratives that we hold inside of ourselves that we don't let go of are just not, they're only real to us.
They really are.
Yeah.
And they were dictating how I live my life. So
yeah.
Okay. So I don't think you have any of this happening in your life, but what happens when we do all these things and then it doesn't work?
Yes. Okay. This is very important because no build is ever perfect. I haven't been on one yet, and I hope that you won't go rate me 1 star or whatever because of that. But something always goes wrong. Something's always backordered. Maybe they built the wall a little off. I've had big mistakes on jobs that have happened. Some my fault, some not. Right? You're right. Sometimes it's your fault. Sometimes it's not your fault at all. Sometimes it's just the way the cookie crumbled. But mistakes or problems. This is the last one. Mistakes or problems are an opportunity for creative solutions. So in every way, sometimes I present a design that I'm like, oh, chef's kiss. My heart is singing. I'm like, this is the one. This is this person. And what if they're just like, I hate it. I hate what you've brought me. I always tell people a no's as good as a yes to me, right? That is an opportunity for me to say why. Why do you hate this? What don't you like? What do you like? Ask more questions. And in that, maybe we'll call that a problem. In that problem, even though that has kind of a more negative connotation than I would give it, that gives me an opportunity to be more creative and to come up with something more creative. And I would say when I've had those problems on jobs, like I had one job where they built the roof wrong, so they created a secret room. I've had jobs, there's just things where you can come up with something that's so cool and unique and creative because of the problem. So in our life, bump it over. Okay. Roadblock, right? We kind of talked about that. What happens when your vision all of a sudden is on fire? It's no longer Right? What do you do?
We pivot,
Pivot?
we get curious.
Why?
Yeah,
Yeah.
what's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
For me, taking ownership, like
Yes.
finding facts, finding truth, sorting through what's assuming or blanket statements and finding what is.
Yes, I love that. Facts.
Mhm.
Similar to what I was saying. Why? Why do you not?
Yeah.
What do you like? What don't you like? Why? Oh, I don't like the arms on this sofa. I think they're really weird. Okay. Right? It's all just information. It's not personal. It's not about my design that I loved, right? Or me. It's not
Mhm.
about me. It's just information. This is how what I did affected this person. This is how what I did affected this situation. What does that mean to me? Do I want to be different? Am I happy with how I've showed up?
Mhm.
Um, how can I create something new? How can I move forward from this? I think about that a lot in my business. I've thought so many times, like, this is exactly what I want to do. I want to do e-designs only. I want to do furniture jobs only. I want to do the and then I get, 10 steps down the road and I'm like, I'm not happy. I don't like this. And those are all me. I mean, those were like, how many times have I sat and talked with my husband and we've said, I'm like, this is what I built and I don't like it.
Mm.
I don't like what I built. It's not what I wanted, right? Vision helps with that. So that's been really helpful. But even sometimes that vision, you think this is how it's going to be and you get there and you're like, this is not how
Yeah.
it is. So taking steps in that moment to reevaluate, allow for change. I liked what you said about allowing yourself to move and change and the flexibility to listen to yourself and for me it's honoring myself. Like, okay, I don't have to hit the finish line on this.
Mhm.
I can just do it this far and call that good and then reevaluate my vision and move forward. I think that's so important in life, in our relationships, in our families, personally, in every aspect. Okay, maybe I've done things this way for the first 30 years, but I don't want to do it that way anymore. Okay, right? Let's be authentic. Let's listen to ourselves.
Mhm. Okay, so I'm hearing that and thinking of my own business and how it applies when there's a problem, mistake, and how we find solutions.
Mm.
I mentor women in
Mhm.
fitness and nutrition, also women who have been betrayed and have that breach of trust in their relationship. I have women who are coming to me compelled to make change. Like it's on fire,
That's true. You're right.
right?
The world is burning.
The world is burning. I need you to fix it. Tell me what to do. So rarely do I have someone who reaches out and they're like, my life is really good. How can you help me? Right?
How would that be? Mhm.
That doesn't happen.
It's a good time to evaluate, but none of us do it. None of
No.
us do it.
And
Yeah.
so we're coming and our pants are on fire. We need someone to fix it. But there's nothing wrong with, okay, this is a huge problem. I'm being compelled to get creative, find solutions, find someone 2 steps ahead. Okay, I'm going to commit. I'm going to be consistent. I'm investing. There's nothing wrong with that. I used to beat myself up that I had this problem in my
Mhm.
marriage or I had this problem with my health. But guess what? There's always solutions. There's people who are supportive,
Mhm.
who are totally willing to help you and not be judgmental. And just here you go. Here's some options. These are things that have worked for me. These are things that have worked for others. Give it a try.
Gather the information. I think patience, the vision can create willingness for us to be patient.
Mm-hmm.
The vision can. Because I think sometimes we just think, I got to move. I got to get out of this place. It's painful. For me, I'm thinking of that time with my business where I'm like, this is not what I wanted to build. I couldn't just turn around tomorrow. I mean, I guess I could have just quit. I don't even know. But yeah, I couldn't it wasn't going to be an instant solution. But I think the vision gives us the willingness to be patient.
Mm-hmm.
It's like so many things in design where are you willing to wait a little bit and get exactly what you want? Or are you going to just get something tomorrow that maybe you don't want and
Like
you
settle.
might get rid of in a little bit? That happens a lot. That choice comes
Yeah.
up so much. I mean, I'm sure you've seen all of these in your
Oh yeah.
in
And
your
both
design days.
both what I do now and then.
Yeah.
It's like I'll just settle because it's back ordered.
Because it's more comfortable.
Yes.
It's gonna meet my need today.
Mhm.
But it's not gonna meet the vision, right? It's not going to be a lifetime furniture piece. It's not going to be
Yes.
right. It's more disposable. It's more disposable solution. I guess maybe that would be like stuffing. I don't know, just like stuffing things down and moving forward. But yeah, I think if you have that vision of what your life can be like. So I mean, someone like you, they come to you, my pants are on fire, like
Yeah.
everything's wrong.
Yes.
Please help. I think one really valuable thing you provide is the vision.
Yeah.
You're like, look, this is how my life looks. This is how her life looks. All of these people have used these tools and they've gotten peace, happiness, health, right? Which depending on which lane you're talking about.
Yeah.
And you could have it too, right? And here's kind of how you could get there. There's a few different ways depending, it's unique, right?
Yep.
That vision. But just creating that vision creates a lot of hope. And so I think the vision, that's why we start there. Because when the problem comes up, so maybe that's step one, reevaluate the vision. Like, okay, let's zoom out. Let's look at the long term. Let's look at my vision. Okay, maybe that vision doesn't work anymore. Maybe I need a new vision. Maybe that vision still works. I just need to walk through this, buffalo through it, whatever.
Yes.
So I think that it's just inevitable.
Yeah.
All the problems are inevitable. And when you're like, guess what? There's tons of solutions. I'm like, and guess what? We all have problems, and problems are opportunities. Like, dare to fail and get back up because something awesome is going to happen, in my opinion.
It always does. It's just so painful in the moment.
It hurts really bad. It really sucks. And it is nice to have people that you can Marco Polo that you're like, wow.
Remind me, this won't last forever.
Sucks. This was the worst. I did not like this. I don't like this. I'm in, and just having people that can remind you who you are and where you're going when they're like, yes, it does totally suck. And this is the worst.
Yes. Okay. I saw a quote the other day that said, that person that you're chasing and like, please accept me. Please, I'm worthy of you. Let's be friends or let's be a partnership. Just stop. Is that person even someone that you like? And it's something like that. I look at that and think, okay, there's a problem. Oh no. But it's going back and looking at the vision. Is this even a solution that I like? Yeah. Or like, are we going down a whole different path where maybe that wasn't actually the problem? Maybe it started back here and I didn't notice.
True. So I think gathering that information, re-examining your vision if you think about design, right? Like you want to be laser focused and you want all of your decisions to help get you towards that vision. So yeah, re-examining it.
We're just going to loop all four, right? So we get to the fourth and then loop it back to the first.
Yeah. When things really hit the fan, just go back to the vision and start again. Right. I think also it helps us to edit, which was letting go, right? Maybe you need to edit some things out, add some things in, build and edit.
Love it. This was awesome. I really enjoyed it. Thank you, Amy. I have one last question for you.
Okay.
What is your last Be the Buffalo moment?
My last Be the Buffalo moment? I think just kind of what I talked about earlier, but stepping into the discomfort of difficult conversations in a way where I can really show up as someone that I'm proud of and not just bottling everything up and then exploding. I have noticed a big difference as I've started working on that narrative within myself, that I can speak my truth. I can say how I feel or what I think in the situation, and I'm not going to rely on the other person, how they react, to tell me how to feel.
Hard.
So I wish I could say I have that totally mastered. I think my life is just going to get exponentially better the better I get at that.
Yes.
And it was really it's been a really awesome process, but really difficult as I'm facing some of the reasons like, why am I that way? Who told me, someone told you were shy? Who told me that I couldn't speak up, maybe when I was teeny tiny and why have I embraced that and all those feelings? I think that's probably because every conversation feels like a buffalo moment.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, I can let this drag out. I can let resentment build. I can be the cow and stay with the storm, right? I can
Yes.
definitely do that and keep the peace, quote unquote. Or I can just have this difficult conversation, move through it, and be on the other side.
Okay.
And it's such a better feeling.
I love that. And it's simple. It's not simple, but it is simple. Like breaking it down to like even a text conversation, phone call, an in-person.
Yes.
There's so many ways that we can be the buffalo and use all of these 4 tips that you just talked about to be that stronger self, not run and charge the storm, but to just face it and get the life you want.
Just do it now.
Yes.
Yep. Don't wait.
Okay, I'm going to put Amy's information so you can contact her if you'd like to follow her along. She has a beautiful website and Instagram. You can see her style and some of the work she's doing and creating. And thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. It was really fun.
Thanks for being here with me today, whether I was with you doing your dishes while you got ready or driving in your car. If you found a nugget in this episode, please take 30 seconds. You can click on the link below in the show notes and leave me a quick review over on iTunes, or you can share on social media or shoot me an email. It offers me your support without you having to spend a dime or much of your time. Until next time, be the buffalo.